I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Well. Where do I start with this? What are the Bears doing? I don't understand it. I don't understand what the Bears are doing right now. We go from expecting a make or break type of season where you keep the core together, you keep pieces together, you add subtract a couple of pieces, but what the hell are the Bears doing? I don't know. This team goes from 8-8, get to the playoffs, even though it was lucky by the 7th seed. It was lucky. We bagged in anyway. We got our butts beat by the Saints in the first round. And it seems like the one thing we were missing was quarterback play. So this team goes from potentially making an offer for Matthew Stafford, potentially making an offer for Carson Wentz, which it came out later that they didn't make an offer for him. It goes from Carson Wentz to talks with Deshaun Watson, but he doesn't have the Bears on his list, and I can see why now. And it goes from Deshaun Watson into Russell Wilson having the Bears on his list of teams that he would go to, and the Bears making a substantial offer, but didn't conclude on that, and we get Andy Dalton. Now, I previously made a video about that, my whole thoughts on that. The card will be popping up, so I'm going to keep the Andy Dalton thoughts a little bit brief. But my thing with Andy Dalton, no, I'm not going to sit here and say he's the worst thing. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's a bad quarterback. But in the position that the Bears are in now, he doesn't move the needle. Point blank, period. He doesn't move the needle. You still have Nick Foles on your roster. Mitch Trubisky is officially gone after that deal with the Buffalo Bills. He's gone. So now, Andy Dalton. And not only Andy Dalton, they assured Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback week 1. Whew. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. And to me, I'm not going to lie to you guys, Andy Dalton and Nick Foles are almost the same level at this point in each of their careers. They're almost at the same point in each of their careers right now. Only thing that Nick Foles has over Andy Dalton is that Super Bowl ring of 2017. That's it. Andy Dalton was more of a consistent starter than Nick Foles, definitely. Andy Dalton with Nick Foles both had some injury problems. Nick Foles has been a backup majority of his career outside of Philly. Andy Dalton has been a starter, so that's what he has over Nick Foles. And you pay $10 million for a guy who backed up last year, but he was forced to start most of the year because of the Dak Prescott injury. So that was head-scratching move number 1. Not only just signing Andy Dalton, but giving him assurance that he will be the starting quarterback. If that doesn't move the needle. And then on top of that, Kyle Fuller is officially a cap casualty. Even though $20 million, I'm not going to sit here and lie. $20 million for Fuller, I will be 100% honest with you, is a little bit high. Especially for Fuller, even though he's been one of the better quarters in the game. $20 million, I'm not going to say it may be a little bit too much, but you were the ones that gave him the contract in the first place. There was no new regime to come in here and give him that contract. You believed in him and you paid him that money. And I kind of agree with him not wanting to take a pay cut. And it was probably going to try to be a significant pay cut at that. So, he's a cap casualty. And on top of that, you signed Desmond Trufant, and let's just be honest, he's not anywhere near the caliber of corner that Kyle Fuller is. At this point of Trufant's career, he's nowhere near the impact of player that Kyle Fuller is. So you take a step back there, and now with the rumors that you're letting Akiem Hicks seek a trade, and if he doesn't find a trade, you're going to release him too. Did we not see how that run defense was not very good when Akiem Hicks was out of the lineup with the injury last year? Did we not see the run defense was not productive without him in the lineup? We were already missing Eddie Goldman because he opted out. And on top of that, Brent Urban is now gone. He's a Dallas Cowboy now. So that's another defensive line casualty that's gone. Instead, you have Robert Quinn, who did absolutely nothing last year. And you keep him. He got paid more on the level of Khalil Mack, and Robert Quinn did as much as me and the majority of people watching this video. Nothing. Robert Quinn did nothing last year. And you keep that man around. And you paid him 5 years, $75 million on top of that. It's Bears team, I'm telling you. I still stand by this point. Keeping Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace has turned out to be a huge mistake. Huge mistake. You missed. First of all, let's go retract back to a little bit of history, especially with the quarterback position. You pay Mike Glennon to be the starter going into that 2017 year. Then on top of that, you draft Mitch over Deshaun Watson and over Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I understood that, but I made a video about that whole entire offseason. So if you want, you guys can go back and watch that. It should be a card popping up. And on top of that, you sign Mike Glennon, who's 3-year, $45 million, to be a starter. But then on top of that, you compound that mistake and you draft Mitch, who you pressure to start too. So that was already a bomb. Mike Glennon didn't even last but what? 4 or 5 games? In 2018, you bring in Chase Daniel. You pay him a lot of money to be a backup. Mitch Trubisky, 2018, he had his best year. 2019, Matt Nagy's idiot self changes the offense. And 2020, you bring in Nick Foles, who got benched by Gardner Minshew in Jacksonville, to come in and compete with Mitchell Trubisky. Which pretty much tells you that after 2017, which Nagy wasn't here, but Pace drafted him. 2018, he had his best year. 2019, you changed the offense, and it didn't work. So you go in and get Nick Foles, who got beat out by Gardner Minshew, to compete with Mitch, and that just proves that you gave up on Mitch already. Now Mitch is out the door. We don't know what's going to happen with Nick Foles. So, and you trust him to get another quarterback? And the quarterback turns out to be Andy freaking Dalton? No disrespect to Dalton, but in the position that the Bears are in now, Dalton doesn't move the needle. Dalton does not move that needle. That needle is still not full. So, and it's been talking that Trey Lance could be a possibility, but I don't want them to develop a quarterback. I don't want this regime to be developing a quarterback. You've already proved you can't develop one with Mitch. And you trust this regime to get another one? I hate to say this. This Bears franchise won't be a successful franchise until the McCaskey family is out of the door. I'll say this right now and I'll repeat it. This Bears franchise will not be successful until the McCaskey family is out of the door. This is just proving the inability to run this organization. Then other news on top of that, you have Allen Robinson, you give him the franchise tag. You go talk to Kenny Golladay, which, I mean, I would love to see the hometown kid come back here and come back home. And Allen Robinson, out of surprise to everybody, signs a franchise tender. And I might have that in a separate video, my entire thoughts on that, because I can go real deep into why I really feel that he signed that tender. But you go Allen Robinson, then you bring in Kenny Golladay for a visit. And now, and on top of the rivals, those two, you're talking about shipping Anthony Miller out the door, which I actually agree with. That move I actually agree with, because Anthony Miller has been up and down for the majority of his Bears career. So I actually agree with that move. But, and on top of that, with this offensive line that struggled, you bring back Jermaine Fetty. The man who gets blown back off the line, the man who's been in different positions and not performed very well. You bring him back here? It's almost like this franchise doesn't know what they want to do to win. It's almost like they don't know what they want to do to win. The offense is in a state of flux. You don't know what you're going to do with Nick Foles. The Russell Wilson trade is pretty much off the table as we speak right now. So, and you look on the defensive side of the ball, you bring back Deion Bush, which I've been a really good Deion Bush guy. He's been very productive from the time he's been in here with his Bears career. So, and you got Cordell Patterson is still on the market, and you haven't even contacted the man. The man who's been productive on your offense. Out of the backfield, he's had some receiving plays as well. The man who changes games with his kickoff return ability. And pretty much you're going to need that because your offense, we don't know what they're going to be. With Nagy calling plays probably again. And Andy Dalton, which we don't know what we're going to get out of him. So having that threat in the special teams kickoff game could be real valuable to our offense. And you haven't even contacted the man all season. And you're using cap casualties as an excuse. I don't understand this Bears front office. I don't understand why you keep Matt Nagy. I don't understand why you keep Ryan Pace. I've been one to say both of them needed to go, despite us making the playoffs last year. They both needed to go. Ted Phillips as well. He needed to go too. But I said it earlier, the Bears won't win until that McCaskey family is out of the door. They won't win until he's out of the door. The Kenny Golladay thing, I mean, I would love to see the hometown kid back here. Me being a Chicago guy myself, I would love to see him come back and put on that Bears uniform. But are they going to be able to afford him with the so-called cap casualties and all that stuff they have? I don't know. So, and on top of that, with your defensive line, Roy Robb signs in Jacksonville. So that's another part of your defensive line gone. Roy Robinson Harris moved on. Brent Urban moved on. Akiem Hicks, you're probably going to let him move on. You signed Mario Edwards Jr. to a 3-year deal, which, I mean, he was productive, but 3-year deal. I don't understand this Bears team. I just don't get it. I don't for the life of me get it. I don't know what direction they're trying to go in. I just want to know, did Nagy and Pace sign some secret extensions that we don't know about for them to be making the moves that they make? I do not trust Ryan Pace with free agent moves. I don't trust him with a lot of free agent moves. I don't. I just don't. His draft ability in the later rounds are good. But a lot of the free agent moves, head scratchers. You get Jimmy Graham. We don't know what he's going to be. I don't even know if they're going to bring him back or not. So far, he's still on the roster, but I don't know. He could be a cap casualty too. I don't know, man. It is very difficult right now to be a Bears fan. It is very, very difficult right now to be a Bears fan. I'll just say it. It's very difficult. In this offseason, we was looking at Tua making a make-or-break year, but the moves they made looks like they're transitioning into a rebuild, and I don't want Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy with a rebuild. I don't. A rebuild, fine. A rebuild, if you go the route towards a rebuild, I don't have a problem with it. But not with these two at the helm. Not with these two at the helm. They've already handled a ton of situations wrong during each and one of their tenures as a member of this organization. So you trust them to rebuild something again? You trust them to bring in another quarterback and develop him again when they didn't develop Mitch? They didn't cater to Mitch's abilities? And Nagy wanted Nick Foles in, and that didn't work either? I, for the life of me, do not get this offseason. We go from expecting one thing to be let down. And to be 100% honest with you, that's why I don't get my hopes held high with this Bears organization. They prove time and time again, they bring people up high and they let them down. Last year was a prime example. You start 5-1, we like, okay, this defense could be good. We could have something here in the making, and you go down here and lose 6 straight. We go from 2018, 12-4. We had promise going into 19, and we went down to 8-8. We made a couple of moves into that past offseason. We're like, okay, maybe we could be better than 8-8. Nope. And we trust that regime to get this back together when it's looking like they're confused, and a lot of the players that are on the roster now are confused and pissed off just like us fans as well. I don't understand this Bears offseason. I don't understand what direction they're trying to go, but I can tell you one direction they're not trying to go, and that's towards winning. They are not trying to go in a direction towards winning. All the moves have been made have been downgrade moves. And if you get Andy Dalton, I would be 100% honest, I would have been happier keeping Mitch. I don't understand this Bears offseason. I don't understand it, and for the life of me, I almost don't want to be a Bear fan dealing with this. We don't know where direction they're trying to go. I just don't understand it. You got a lot of holes to fix. You lost a lot on your defensive front. You're probably going to lose the locker room with a lot of these moves that you're going to make. So, yeah. Hard times to be a Bear fan. I can't even say... I'm not even going to say those 2 words, bear down. I can't tell you guys to bear down because we're upset. So, either way it goes. See y'all next time. I can't even talk about this no more. I'm out.